Times if the terminology is wrong at the outset, then it confuses things moving forward. I'm not pro-Palestinian. I'm not pro-Israeli. I'm pro-truth and I'm pro-justice. If the truth is on the Israeli side, I will support Israel. If justice is on the Israeli side, I'll support Israel. And the same thing goes for the Palestinians. I've spent the greater part of my adult life, you can say beginning 1982, so it's more than 4 decades, researching, studying the Israel-Palestine conflict. And it's my conclusion at the end of that research, but already early on, that the case that Israel makes for its crimes are in large part fabrications, misrepresentations, and distortions.
And for you guys who don't know who that is Norman Finkelstein. And why is this the biggest blow that Candace could serve Ben? Ben Shapiro does not recognize this man, Norman Finkelstein, as the appropriate Jewish person. And he says he's not pro-Palestinian, which I like that. He's on the side of the truth wherever it lands. But if she wanted to have somebody who's going to do the Palestinian argument, but not necessarily make a jab at Ben in any kind of way, she could have had Dan Cohen on. She could have had Dave Smith on, but she chose to have Norman Finkelstein on, a man who Ben Shapiro refuses to debate. The situation between Ben and Candace, it may seem like it's over, but it's really not, because what has happened now is that a lot of doors have been opened to look through and ask questions. Many times when you want to know something and you simply ask a question, you get labeled. Her having this guy on it's a smack in the face to not just Ben Shapiro, but to all conservatives who just want to talk about a narrow view of this conflict. The thing is, you don't have to care about the conflict. You don't. But if you're going to talk about it, if people have a platform and they're going to talk about it, like I said, you need to talk about it as a whole. Don't just tell your listeners what they want to hear, the easy take. It's not always easy to tell the whole truth, but the truth has to be told, no matter how inconvenient it is. And this man is a scholar. He has every right to call out Ben. Why won't Ben just go ahead and debate this guy? At least debate another Jewish man who has his facts on the conflict, like you do too, and then just debunk him. That's all. But there is a certain Jewish person that Ben doesn't appreciate, Ben doesn't acknowledge. And listen, you'll hear from his own mouth.
If you ask a Christian, what is your core identity? They'll say, my core identity is a Christian. Right? If you ask a Muslim, what's your core identity? They'll say, my core identity is a Muslim. If you ask a Jew, what's your core identity? They'll say, I like social justice, and I'm very concerned with the issues of the world.
Tikkun olam.
Right, they like tikkun olam, but not tikkun olam in like the actual
Moses came with tikkun olam.
Right, exactly. So the idea is that most Jews in the United States are not religious. I mean, this is a simple fact, and I don't mean just going to shul every Shabbos or every morning, davening 3 times a day, or putting on tefillin and keeping kosher or anything. I'm talking about like in any significant sense of identity. Judaism is just a thing that a lot of Jews do, which usually means that you go for Yom Kippur and maybe you break for lunch, but it's not anything. It's not a serious commitment that you make in terms of your life or in terms of how you think about the world. And so what you really are is you're a secular leftist who really doesn't believe in God, but feels some sort of very basic cultural solidarity that focuses in on a particular history with bagels and lox and all the rest of this. That's not going to give you any sense of identity with the state of Israel. I mean, this is a big mistake that I think a lot of Republican politicians make with the Jewish population in America. They'll go to a Reconstructionist synagogue and they'll talk about Israel as though this is going to be a resonant issue. Israel is like number 15 on the list for these folks. And even when it comes to Israel, they think of Israel in the same way that secular leftists think of Israel on the very progressive left, right? Israel is constantly invading human rights and it's an apartheid state. Like if you go to Reconstructionist synagogues, that's actually sort of part of the service almost. It's really a problem.
There are Jewish rabbis who speak against Israel from a religious standpoint. Now, maybe somebody can help me in the comments, but this is America, so we should be able to explain anything. And I know some people, just for the person who's going to say, you don't know anything about Judaism to start explaining Judaism. I'm not explaining all of Judaism, all right? But I do read and I do listen to the lectures, and I think that I can make a point, okay? And if you want to help me out with it, you can. And you'll have to forgive my voice, but it's just been a lot with, I'm not tiptoeing around anything anymore. I'm just simply not, okay? Because this is the problem we have in this country now. That's why I say when you come to my channel, you're going to get the full inconvenient truth. So now when he brings up reconstruction of synagogues and, they're against Israel and it's actually a problem. No, actually, they've interpreted the Old Testament in what I would imagine to be the correct way, especially as a Christian. I'm definitely going to tell you, it seems like it would be the correct way to me, where they're saying that they're waiting for their Messiah to bring them back to Israel. But to make it a movement, they're saying if Jewish people want to live in Israel, they can live in Israel. But Israel is not number one. Like he said, is not number one priority for them. And in fact, they're not going to fight to go to Israel. And some of them will end up standing a protest against Israel. And we're not going to call these people leftists. I mean, I'm talking full, the rabbi look, right? Y'all know what the look is. They're saying that this Zionist movement of saying Jewish people must go to Israel as some sort of fulfillment of God's law. They're like, that's antithetical to what Judaism is. And these are rabbis. These are older people who have, come on. And, he'll say like, oh, they're just like seculars, progressives. No, they're not. They're not just, who are you to say that about a group of people, even if it is your own people? It reminds me of, again, being Black and saying that, oh, if you're Black, you must vote Democrat. I mean, to the point where Joe Biden said it, like, if you don't know if you're going to vote for me or not, then you must not be Black. I mean, that's how much it should be understood that every Black person must vote for Joe Biden. So it's like, it must be understood that every Jewish person should want to fight for Israel. No. Now, what I will say about Jewish people is that they're better connected than Black folk are. They definitely stick together a lot better than Black people do. And kudos to them. Kudos to them for a lot of things, okay? I'm not mad at the person who gets on top. I'm mad at the fools who buy the brainwashing. That's who I'm mad at, for real, for real. Somebody like him will see a Norman Finkelstein and say, oh, he's not the right kind of Jew. He's self-hating. He doesn't know any. Like, they'll talk about Norman Finkelstein like he's some sort of leftist. Like, oh, those are leftist Jews. They like wokeism. He wrote a book against wokeism, and he doesn't like the cancellation, victimization narrative that goes on. He's over it too.
And I don't respect the crocodile tears to the crocodile tears. No, I'm folks. Allow me to finish, and allow me to finish. Listen, sir. Allow me to finish. Sir, I don't like to play before an audience the Holocaust card. But since now I feel compelled to.
And so what you didn't see was like the beginning of this video. This girl right here had said to him, like, I don't like the words that you're using. You're comparing Jewish people to Yahtzees and stuff. And, she was saying like, oh, basically trying to come at him like, and Holocaust. And he's saying, I hate exploiting it, but since you guys brought me here, let's go.
Was in Auschwitz. My late mother, please shut up. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother was in Majdanek concentration camp.
See how she's having a meltdown too, by the way, because she's like, oh my God, it's definitely not going to land. Oh my God. Yeah, why don't you do a little research on the person that you come for?
Every single member of my family on my father's side,
the Jews did not take arms against the Germans.
My late father was in Auschwitz concentration camp. My late mother was in Majdanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family on both sides was exterminated. Both of my parents were in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And it's precisely and exactly because of the lessons my parents taught me and my two siblings that I will not be silent when Israel commits its crimes against the Palestinians. And I consider nothing more despicable than to use their suffering and their martyrdom to try to justify the torture,
the brutalization, the demolition of homes that Israel daily commits against the Palestinians.
We're talking about states, we're talking about corrupt governments, we're talking about bad policies. And that's what it comes down to, that have cost lives on both sides. What I'm doing here is trying to decouple the thinking of anybody who says any criticism of Israel is innately a bad person or a bad Jew. I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.